This interception comes just days after police announced the seizure of 2,600 rounds of ammunition headed for Wale Wale in the northeast region. Take a look.
According to the police situational report on the latest incident, officers on duty became suspicious that the driver might be transporting incriminating items. An extensive search of the vehicle was conducted. During the search, a sack was found to contain 1,050 rounds of AAA and BB cartridge ammunition. The driver told police that the sack and its contents were brought to the station by an unknown person as a parcel to be delivered to one Oboye in Tamale. The bus was immediately impounded while the ammunition was retained as exhibits.
These criminals, what we realize is that they know that whenever they are in a private cars, there's serious scrutiny to check them, so they want to take the public transport so they can easily move in and out with some of these things.
The suspects are currently in police custody, assisting with ongoing investigations.
There was a police barrier called Asankare barrier. This Asankare barrier is the last stop from Greater Accra when you are going to Kumasi. It is a very powerful barrier that if you commit crime down south here, maybe sometime before the report gets to the police emergency line to call all lookout messages, the criminal has already passed through Suhum, Nkoko, Konongo, heading towards Kumasi. They sat down and said, "Oh, why do we close that barrier, which is a very important factor in clamping down criminal activities?" So we opened the barrier, and they have been operating, working very hard.
This latest incident comes just days after police intercepted 2,600 rounds of ammunition bound for Wale Wale in the northeast region.
One of the successes they thought was over 2,600 AK-47 ammunition that was being transported from Accra here, heading towards the conflict areas in the north.
Meanwhile, some chiefs in the Asogli traditional area have appealed to the National Commission of Small Arms and Light Weapons to extend the amnesty period for the voluntary surrender of firearms. The commission had earlier set December 1st, 2025 to January 15th, 2026 as the amnesty window.
Let's have a conversation on this. Joining me via Zoom is the Executive Director of the Small Arms Commission, Dr. Adams Buna. Doc, thank you very much for joining us. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Serwaa, and your team.
Doc, we don't seem to be making progress, are we?
Well, we are making a lot of progress. You heard the IGP speak.
Okay.
We are making a lot of progress. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Doc.
Yes, we are making a lot of progress. You can see, you heard the IGP speak. And there's been some arrests with regards to 2,600 rounds of AK-47 ammunition. Proud to that, if you look at your own portal, the police have also arrested several people with weapons here and there. It means we are making progress. And I'm sure you do also know that I did hear your reporter say the small arms, the amnesty is a declaration by the Interior Minister of the Republic of Ghana, Honorable Mutaka Mubarak, who did that on behalf of the government. And so we are only implementing, as part of the agencies under the Interior, and in fact, responsible for helping firearms and combating it, ensure Ghanaians are aware of the nitty-gritties and the harmful effect of firearms and ammunition and its-related materials, and also to ensure that those who say they don't know, we move from region to region. So as I speak to you, I am in the Volta region. I'm in Ho. We came here Tuesday. We paid courtesy score, as your reporter did indicate, to the Asogli State, the chiefs and elders of the Volta region. We met them. We met the regional minister yesterday. We had the amnesty sensitization where all the security heads were here, all the MMDCs were here, and then we had the Mamagan also from the Alavanyo traditional. Wherever you are in this country, walk to the nearest police district and surrender that weapon to the nearest police district and surrender that weapon to the police or ammunition to the police. If you don't, you will be surrendering.
Doc, do you mean over 1,000 firearms have been declared, or over 1,000 people have declared?
Over 1,000, more than, yes. And so we've had several weapons being declared all over the country. Several weapons are being declared as we speak. And so it is a reason why we are asking Ghanaians. It's not just one of the usual amnesty where there's a declaration and everybody goes to sleep. No. This is an amnesty that probably the country hasn't done before. And so the small arms, together with the police, the national security, the interior ministry, and allied agencies, we are moving across the country. We are going to villages and regional capitals to engage, to ensure that if you have an illicit weapon, please surrender it. You know, about 2 weeks ago, I think it was Boxing Day, here in the Volta region in Ho, the regional capital, the central mosque, some crazy persons went there and started shooting. And these weapons that are being used are illicit weapons. Chances are that if a weapon is legally registered, the owners who register them will not use them to foment trouble or shoot at innocent people. And so we are asking every citizen of this country, whether you are government appointee, whoever, the chiefs, and you heard the chiefs of the Asogli state and the regional minister, and in fact, yesterday, that the amnesty should be extended. I mean, heading the Small Arms Commission, I don't have the authority. That would defer that to the interior minister. He would have to, upon advice, if he wants to extend it, I'm sure he would have to consult, His Excellency, the President and Cabinet, and then an extension will be done. If not, for now, the amnesty is ending on the 15th. Those who think that we are joking, they can see the IGP speak. The police are doing where everyone is on board. And so every last weapon in this country will be picked. Every bullet will be picked. And so do not think that you will not be arrested. You'll be arrested because your girlfriend will know that you have a weapon. Your boyfriend will know you have a weapon, or your child, and will pay them when they tell us you have a weapon and would arrest you. And so please, those who have them should voluntarily go to police districts, police regions, and surrender them. And then they walk home free. Nobody would arrest you within the amnesty period.
Okay, but during this declaration, how do you verify these arms that are being surrendered? I mean, this
well, you see, one of our mandates as a commission is to track and trace where if they are locally made, sometimes because they don't have codes, it's difficult to trace. But every weapon that is brought in, a foreign weapon, we are able to trace them to the manufacturer and the country. And sometimes even when it came into the country, we have the capacity as a commission to do that. It's something we do. And so we are doing that as at when the weapons come in. But I must also say that, you see, we are the ultimate aim is to collect all these weapons and destroy them. If the weapon can be registered, take the weapon to the nearest police station. It is better to regularize that illicit weapon if it is one of the registrable weapons at the nearest police station than to keep it and get arrested. There are some weapons like AK-47. You cannot register it. Last week or 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, from the police headquarters, a caller from the Volta region here, the Volta region here said he had an AK-47. He was afraid to surrender it because he thought he would be arrested. A team came from Accra and picked the AK-47 and gave him a cheat for surrendering that weapon. That weapon is in safe custody. That weapon will eventually be destroyed. And he will do it, all of you will be caught, and then the weapon would be destroyed. And so weapons that cannot be registered will be destroyed. And some of them can be registered.
Thank you.
Keep illicit weapons. Come and register them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Adam Buna is the Executive Director of the Small Arms Commission. Let's take you to the Eastern region now. And the Kede District Court in that region on Wednesday remanded 5 accused persons in connection with the brutal assault of Michael Kwesi, a teacher at Kede Senior High Technical School, after they pleaded guilty. 4 of the accused persons who were above 18 years were remanded into prison custody, while the other accused person, a 17-year-old juvenile, was remanded into police custody. All 5 are expected to reappear before the court on January 20, 2026, with the juvenile's case to be handled by a juvenile court.
National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT Eastern Branch, being the regional chairman, I must say that we are happy for the court proceeding this morning. They all admitted their guilt in the presence of the judge, and due to that, there have been 3 of them who are above 18 years have been remanded into prison custody to reappear on the 20th of January 2026. The other one, who is 17 years, who is a juvenile, has also been remanded to police custody to also reappear on the 20th, the same day, for the juvenile court to handle his issues. And as a union, we must say we are very happy for the outcome of the court proceedings. And we are hoping that on the 20th January 2026, when courts sit on that matter, I think the judge will not mince his ways. As he indicated, you could say that he is a man of principle, a man who wants to uphold discipline in our institutions, and we must recommend him for that. And also, when the president came in, it gave us the assurance that discipline needs to be effected on the students for them to learn a lesson. Based on this, I'm using this criteria to urge all students across the entire country to be mindful of their behavior in the various schools. They should not follow their friends who may throw them into a ditch. They are there to learn, and that should be their primary focus. So that at the end of the day, or at the end of their year period in school, they will be able to further their education, become whatever they want to be. Some of them will become teachers and other things. And if other students are also supposed to do the same thing to them, what will be the effects? So we must say that we are very grateful to the court, and we are also grateful to the IGP for the swift response to our
President John Dramani Mahama has expressed serious concern over recent reports of students-to-teacher violence following an alleged assault involving a teacher and some students at the Kede Senior High School. President Mahama says that no teacher should feel unsafe in the line of duty, stressing that violence against educators undermines discipline and threatens the quality of education in the country. He has called on education authorities, parents, and school administrators to work together to reinforce respect, discipline, and accountability in schools.
The unfortunate thing is that the matter went to the police station, and the parents of the students went to the police, and they said they settled the matter amicably. I mean, how is that? This is assault, it's criminal. You know, at least the children should have been booked, they should have been taken through the legal process, and at least, if nothing at all, they should have been bonded to be of good behavior for a period of time. And then we'll believe that justice has been done. But just for parents to come and, you know, pay a little compensation, it will encourage others to do the same. You know, and so as for assaults on teachers, I am with you 100%. We will deal with it.
Let's have a conversation on this. Dr. Isaac Newman Arthur, one of our favorite psychologists, joins me on phone now. Doc, thank you so much for your time and a Happy New Year. Doc, what's going on? If these students are not assaulting a teacher, they're picking up a phone, recording themselves and saying unprintable words.
I think that the issues are a bit more complex than this. Usually when you see teenagers putting up a certain behavior, you know, those things that we see, we term it as aggressive or defiant behavior.
Okay.
Right? And those kind of behaviors, the moment you see that, it's a sign of poor childhood development. So you have kids who are growing up they grow up to think a certain way, have a certain emotional response, and also behaviors to certain things. If parenting goes bad, you will find kids going to things like that. Then again, too, when parenting phase and child development doesn't go well, it is easier for peer influence to also go up. So for me, when I see things like that, the first thing I ask myself is that why are these kids behaving that way? Until we tackle things from the root cause, we may not be able to help these kids. So whatever the punitive measures are, these children also need some kind of assessment and help, so that there can be some reformation. And if you can go into their background in terms of home, the environment, how they grew up, you realize that it's coming from there.
But Doc, so this poor childhood development that you talk about, whose fault is it really? The parenting or the schools?
I think it's parenting and also the society. The school comes in at some point to actually improve behaviors, improve knowledge and stuff like that. But if you have kids coming from a certain environment, then it becomes a bit more difficult for the school to handle kids like that. I would have loved to have a conversation with those kids and also try to see how they grew up. There's something totally wrong with their growth.
Okay, Doc, when you say how they grew up, I mean, for the sake of public education, what do you advise parents to do in terms of upbringing in these times that we are seeing all of these things happening over and over again?
Well, there are multiple things. The first one I would say is that parental presence and relationship is important. Now we know, the research will tell you that for kids who grow up to become responsible adults, there was some good relationship with significant others. So that is the first thing. Now, you have a lot of parents who are too busy, they don't have time for their kids. Even if they are home, the needs of the kids are neglected. A lot of parents who do not know how to raise children, though they have kids, right? So it starts from there. Positive relationship with parents. Then again, abuse, physical, verbal, emotional, sexual abuse, whatever it is, destroys a child's development, right? And so parents would have to actually pay attention and protect their kids for all kinds of abuses. Then again, to societal influences. If you are raising a child in a certain environment, they are likely to be able to be influenced by the environment. So the kind of the school they go to before secondary school is also very, very important. Then again, the school comes up with all kinds of programs to help shape kids like that. Yes.
Doc, thank you very much for your time. Hopefully we're able to meet and have a broader conversation on this. Dr. Newman Arthur is a clinical psychologist. Let's take a break. When we return, we have sports news with Mrs. Bukhari. Economic growth. He expressed the sentiment during a courtesy visit to the bank aimed at exchanging knowledge and expertise.
Of investment by government on its own can scratch the surface of what we need to give ourselves a sound economy. Nor can we expect in this era of international discord to rely on foreign investments of any significance. This moment calls for a massive push to stimulate domestic private investment in industry. That cannot happen with interest at their current cutthroat rate and level. The challenge I leave with your creative brains is to fashion how you move the economy from the crippling high interest regime to the level where it becomes a stimulant of business and wealth creation. The second issue I wish to touch on it is the bank of the public in the public sphere. This is a unique institution with a mandate that ultimately affects every citizen of the land. Ideally, this citadel should be a fortress, insulated from the strings and arrows of political warfare. Whatever it is, we should think twice before we do anything which has the capacity to cast a stain on the integrity of the bank.
Meanwhile, the Bank of Ghana has expressed its determination to reduce the lending rates to 10% by the end of 2028. The governor of the central bank, Dr. Johnson Isiama, in response, indicated that the institution will build on the solid foundation it has established to strengthen Ghana's economy and create a favorable business environment through lower lending rates.
That lending rates will not be more than 10% in this country. Nana, on the external front, buffers have also been rebuilt. Our gross international reserves, which is the variable we use to assess our resilience as a country. Our international reserves have risen to above $13.8 billion, and this is historic. Nana, I joined the bank since 1995, and I've never seen such figures since then. So this is historic. And in terms of imports cover, we normally use the imports cover to also express the international reserves level. We are looking at close to 6.
Let's have a conversation on this. Dr. Richmond Etuahene is a banking consultant. Doc, thank you very much for your time. What do you make of Otumfuo's call, Doc?
Thank you very much, and good afternoon. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Doc.
I believe Otumfuo has made a clarion call, which is very, very important. Because if you look at the sub-region, Nigeria, interest rate, bank lending rate is 18.9%. Ivory Coast is just 5.5%, with inflation of 0, and Nigeria was 27%. Our interest rate, our bank lending rate is astronomically high, and it cripples businesses. With the stabilization in the economy, currency policy rate downward, I would have thought that at least by the second half of this year, the lending rate should come as low as, say, 15 or 10%. Because if your policy rate is about 16 thereabout, your lending rate is over 20%. And I believe that if you really want to turn the economy around, what Otumfuo is saying should be taken with all seriousness. Other than that, this country will be an importer of everything instead of the net exporter, because producing in Ghana and exporting interest rates are astronomical. And that is not only the cost. We have electricity costs, higher one. We have all these taxes and electricity. And if we really want to make a friendly economic environment with the inflation as low as 5.3%, I believe interest rates should come as low as 15% to help the business. Other than that, there is no way this economy is going to recover because interest rates are astronomically high. I think in the whole sub-region, I think it's higher than any other economy, as far as my research has been concerned.
Doc, thank you very much for your time. Dr. Richmond Etuahene is a banking consultant. That's it for business. We'll be back with sports.
The Business Brief was brought to you by CompuGhana, passion for technology.
Many thanks for joining me here on Sports Brief. I am Monica Bukari. Now, the government of Ghana, through the Ministry of Sports and Recreation, has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Confederation of African Athletics for hosting of the 24th edition of the Africa Senior Athletics Championship. The championship, expected to be held from May 12 to 17, is to assemble the continent's top athletes and officials. The sector minister noted that Ghana was delighted to be given the nod to host the premium athletic event on the continent and assured Ghana will do its best to push Africa athletics to the next level by delivering a very prestigious event.
I'm very highly elated. I told Mr. President, the Vice President and CEO earlier that athletics in Ghana is a big thing. Everybody here will admit when they were in school that the time they enjoyed the most, that they felt at home, that every pressure was off them, that they made friends, was during athletics. It brought us together. It showed the positive competition in us. Football was nowhere near athletics, and it's still nowhere near athletics. And so when we are given the opportunity to host such an event, we must be happy. We need to continue to invest in infrastructure. And it is in the investment in infrastructure that will...
Away from athletics, in boxing, the president of the Ghana Boxing Federation, Dauda Husseini, has unveiled plans to introduce an African boxing league with a limited edition involving selected African countries, as he believes boxers do not get enough competition to prepare them for bouts. Dauda, who also doubles as the president for African Boxing Union Zone 2, spoke exclusively to us on the game.
Very well. Of course, we are going to do that. And then currently, the African body itself is introducing what we call the African Boxing League. So the African Boxing League is going to comprise all the 4 zones, where, this is a pilot program. So in this very edition, we are not going to involve all the African nations, but what we're going to do as an executive board member on the African board, we are going to pick 4 nations from each zone. So we have 4 zones, 4 by 4, we're going to get 16 countries. So we are starting with 16 countries for the league. And then as it goes on, then we'll be increasing the number of countries. And then by this time around, it will come on first come, first come, first serve basis. So the countries that are going to register themselves early enough are the countries that will be selected to be part of this boxing league, which we believe is going to keep our boxers very busy and active.
Now the draw for the qualifying stages of the Total CAF Futsal Africa Cup of Nations AFCON Morocco 2026 was staged in Rabat on Wednesday, revealing the pathway to the continental finals later in the year. 18 teams are involved in the qualification process, which will be contested over 2 rounds and will determine the 7 nations that will join host 3-time champions Morocco. The 4 highest ranked teams in the FIFA Futsal World Rankings: Angola, Cote d'Ivoire, Egypt, Libya, from the first round. However, they will be required to confirm their qualification when they enter the competition in the second round against opponents eager to secure a place at the finals. And the English Premier League, Antoine Semenyo struck a stunning late winner for Bournemouth as they beat Tottenham Hotspur in a dramatic fashion at the Vitality Stadium. With the game poised at 2-2, Semenyo fired home from outside the box to beat Petrovic and end the Cherries' 1-1 game winless run in style. Martin Stell had struck inside 5 minutes to give Spurs the perfect start, but their lead only lasted 17 minutes as Ivan Elsen headed home from Marcus Trebinor across to lift the mood at the Vitality Stadium. But Semenyo had a final say in his farewell game with an emotional winner in the 95th minute. Bournemouth now have 27 points after 21 games following their 6th Premier League win of the season, and they are only 1 point behind Spurs. And that's all for sports. My name is Monica Bukayo. Do join us at 1 p.m. on The Game. Back to you, Serwaa. Amihere.
On the international front, in the United States, protests have taken place in Minneapolis after the fatal shooting of 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good by a U.S. immigration agent. Videos of the incident show ICE agents approaching a car in the middle of the street. As it attempts to drive off, one of them points his gun at the driver, and at least 2 shots are heard. U.S. Homeland Security Secretary said Good was stalking and impeding officers and tried to weaponize her vehicle. The Minneapolis City Council, however, said Good was simply caring for her neighbors when she was shot and killed on Wednesday morning. Hundreds of ICE agents have been deployed to Minneapolis in the state of Minnesota as part of the White House crackdown on illegal immigration. And that's it for the news. Thank you so much for watching. On behalf of the entire team, led by Mrs. Ainin and Joshua Kojo Mensah. I'll see you again at 6:30. I am Serwaa Amihere. Happy New Year.